What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Patrick Smith for the $25 donation to the channel via the PayPal. Much respect to you for showing love to Too Raw for TV, aka Too Raw for Sports. Much appreciated. I truly salute you for showing love. And once again, I want to thank everybody who has shown support to both of these platforms. Let me tell you something. YouTube damn near destroyed this channel right here through shadow banning, through suspensions, through all of that stuff. So anybody that's new, and you notice like a lot of us, when we talk about certain things, we got to speak in code. It's because free speech is something that is evaporating in our society rapidly. And to be honest with you, a lot of the infringements upon free speech, ironically, are coming from the left. You know, in years past, if you go back to the generations of the 60s and 70s, most of the infringements upon free speech were coming from the right. But that's no longer the case. I would have to say a lot of it, the majority of it's coming from the left now. So thank you guys for supporting this platform. Now, Kyrie Irving, as we all learned yesterday, late yesterday, issued a statement of contrition, released through the Brooklyn Nets, I guess, and donated $500,000 to a defamation, anti-defamation group. And I think the Nets organization also donated $500,000. That's $1 million total from the Nets organization. Yet you still have people who aren't satisfied by this. They want to hear him apologize. They want to hear him apologize. And they want basically for him to denounce the film, all right? I've never watched the film. I don't care to watch the film. I don't really particularly care for religion. I'm not a religious person. And, you know, I'm trying to go down that avenue. However, you know, despite his statement of contrition, they want him to surrender, right? To buckle. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, more or less issued a statement. Let me read the statement verbatim. He issued a statement today that calls for Kyrie Irving to do more. All right? See if I can find it. He said, Adam Silver said, quote, Kyrie Irving made a reckless decision to post a link to a film containing deeply offensive anti-Semitic material. While we appreciate the fact that he agreed to work with the Brooklyn Nets and the Anti-Defamation League to combat anti-Semitism and other forms of discrimination, I am disappointed that he has not offered an unqualified apology and more specifically denounced the vile and harmful content contained in the film in which he chose to publicize. I'll be meeting with Kyrie in person in the next week to discuss the situation. Now, that's groups pressuring the NBA, sponsors pressuring the NBA vis-a-vis the commissioner and the board of governors to have this nigga go in line. Have this nigga, and yes, I use language like that because I'm talking about how they perceive Kyrie Irving. Get this nigga in check. That's how they look at this situation. Okay? let's be honest. Most of the people in the mainstream media can't stand Kyrie Irving. They don't like him all the way, going all the way back to at least the situation with the elixir. Some before then. The same way a lot of people don't like Russell Westbrook in the media. Why? Because of their personalities. Russ could be downright, you can see it in his interviews. He's not the most affable person. He can come across as arrogant, aloof, slick, mouthed, rude. Kyrie smiles more, is charming, but he can come across as the same similar things: aloof, arrogant, haughty. He's a lot more wordy than Russell Westbrook. Damn near. I mean, a complete 180 when it comes to verbosity. But at the same time, they can rub some people the wrong way. So you already had people like Stephen A. Smith who haven't liked him from day one. And then to me, and I've said this before, when the whole thing with the elixir, and that's a code word, when the whole thing with the elixir and him not taking the elixir happened, you saw all of these people who looked like him came out and just destroyed him. Destroyed him. But fate intervened and Kyrie came across eventually in a new light, looking like, he was ahead of the curve. But all of those old tensions never really went away. It's just that the powers to be told the coon talking heads, hey, look, man, this guy's a product. He's a star in the NBA. We can't keep bashing this guy. So they all took a step back. But they never really liked this guy. And I think a lot of people, they seized upon this situation to play get back at him, some of the lower underlings. But the miscalculation that Kyrie made, I think, in this situation, and this is just me, is when you point out something like that, you have to be prepared for what can happen. You have to be prepared for the fallout. And I don't know whether Kyrie kind of got too caught up into, because this can happen. When you have a broad base of support, sometimes you can overestimate certain things about yourself. Like when Kyrie says, hey, my name itself generates billions and billions of dollars, or hundreds of billions of dollars. Or like when he had the altercation with that reporter and said, I got an army behind me. When it comes to the grand scheme of things, no, you don't. No, you don't. Remember when Snoop was attacking Gayle King? And rightfully so. Remember when he was attacking Gayle King for coming at Kobe Bryant? Right? Now, Snoop is a very powerful individual. Right? Remember, all it took was Susan Rice, who is affiliated with the government and super affiliated, right? All it took was her to say, more or less, I'm going off memory, you don't want me and my army to come after you. And by that I mean she meant, motherfucker, I am deeply entrenched in the United States government, and we can ruin your motherfucking life. He shut the fuck up and apologized. That's what I'm talking about. When you go after certain, if you're going to say something that you know it's going to offend a certain entity, you got to be willing to deal with the consequences. That's why I never like when people would equate this person or that person with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali literally risked his life and risked his freedom and lost millions and millions of dollars, and potentially, had it not been for the intervention of the Supreme Court, he would have lost his career and freedoms behind what he believed. You see what I'm saying? That's why I don't like when people always say this guy's the new Ali, this guy's the new Ali. No. People don't realize what he actually gave up. And that's why he was so beloved generally by the black community and by people who really are righteous in what they believe in. Now I know that Kyrie believes in certain things, but you got to be prepared for that fallout. So this is the thing, man, and this is gonna be fucked up. I understand why he did what he did, because the man still has to make a living. But it's going to be people who are going to use this and attack him. Oh, he sold out. Oh, see, it's another dude who got buck broken. It's easy to say that shit, man. It's easy to say that when you sleeping on a pissy mattress with roaches crawling everywhere. You know what I'm saying? These men are trying to create generational wealth, not just for themselves, but for their families and their grandchildren. And these guys are in a position, these NBA players who are always attacked for, their salaries, whatever. Sometimes that shit does piss me the fuck off. These guys don't play as a consumer of the product of NBA. Of course, that pisses us off. But it is also admirable that you have so many young black men who have the potential to create generational wealth for themselves and their families. And they also have the power to put many other people through school, other family members, extended family members through school, to be doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and people in our community that could be fruitful. So at the end of the day, I won't attack Kyrie Irving for what you might say, turning his, cooning or whatever the fuck, buck dance. That's not what he's doing, man. The dude's not stupid, man. So, at the end of the day, all I'm gonna say is, if I'm Kyrie Irving, if I was a friend of his, I'd be like, you just gotta be more careful with some of the shit that you post. Look at the shit, research it, and think about whether this would be smart for me to put out there, or whether I'm willing to deal with the consequences of that. But other than that, I don't have a problem with Kyrie. But it's fucked up that it's fucked up that an entity, and I won't say what I'm talking about, but an entity could be so sensitive, but at the same time, such bullies. And I'm going to say this. One of the most esteemed members of this entity said that they admitted on camera that this whole thing is a trick. It's an old trick that they use to guilt trip and browbeat people into not criticizing any of their actions. If you criticize any of their actions, it's an old trick they use and it works, to prevent people from ever, even in some instances, legitimately criticizing them. But before I end this video, I just want to say something. On behalf of all 50 million of us that live in this country, all 50 million African Americans, when the fuck is anybody ever going to apologize to us for slavery? I don't believe the United States government has ever issued a formal apology to us for slavery. Never. They never apologized to us for Jim Crow. We've never been apologized to for the millions of us lost through the Middle Passage when we were stacked together like we were fucking cargo, pissing and urinating and defecating on each other. Those who were malnourished or passed were tossed aside and you know, tossed off of ships and made shark food. But nobody ever apologized to us for any of that. Nor do we ever have any allies when we have our issues. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Tell me what you guys think.